Hi there, it's Diana, homemaker and metaphysician. Do we really know what's in our subconscious mind? I look at the subconscious mind as, say, perhaps a recycle bin on your computer where everything that you deleted goes in there, except that we don't really delete it. And the stuff we put in this recycle bin will stay there for years and years and years until we decide to delete it. But the thing with the subconscious mind is once something goes in, you can't really delete it, but you can change its form. And the subconscious mind is filled with information from the time that we were born. In fact, from the time that the baby is in the womb and is conscious of or have the ability to hear anything, because the baby can hear conversations going on around it when it's in the womb before it's actually physically born. Because how many times those of us who've been pregnant and we drop something by accident and it makes the baby jump. So from the time those cells, those brain cells are formed, information is going in. And when the baby is born, all the sounds and everything, from those surrounding it, mommy and daddy and friends, family, hospital, staff, it starts to go in and in and in. And obviously, that immediately starts to form your baby's reality, our baby's reality. And so many parents, as a child is growing up, begin each sentence or so many sentences with don't, don't do that, don't touch this, don't go there, don't. And I remember making a conscious effort never to start a sentence with my children as they were growing up with don't. I would say maybe take care or watch out what you're doing or, anything but start with don't. Because when you think about it, it's like, it's like almost like an order, would you say, not to do something. So basically um, in that subconscious box, subconscious suggestion box, where every word and sentence and impression goes. And if so many of them, imagine that you're reading a book and every sentence starts with don't. Obviously that affects your reality as you're growing up and it limits you without you actually realizing that this has happened. So I um I'm very conscious of things around me, and also people when they start a sentence with "I don't feel so good" or "I something," and it's in the negative. Your subconscious mind, when you read that, your subconscious mind could also take that as if it's you, if you see what I'm saying. Unless the person say, I Joe blogs, you know, uh, or Jane blogs have this particular illness or whatever, and they name their names. If it's just I, it just goes into your subconscious mind as you're internalizing that because we refer to ourselves as I, if you see what I mean. And therefore a sickness that um you don't have, could be in your suggestion box as you having it because you read it as I. So many times when I turn on my phone or my computer, somebody would be explaining something or sharing something about their day or their life, and they will say, "Oh, I feel really bad today," or "I felt really bad today." And because they didn't name their name, your subconscious mind is taking it as the I is you, if you see what I'm trying to say. Because we use that pronoun, I this and I that. So I would always negate that. I would always delete that and say to myself, that doesn't mean me, or mentally circle that I and say, that's not me, that's the other person. I don't want that to go into my subconscious mind. And the thing, because the thing with the subconscious mind is that whatever it receives, it tries to give you that because that's what it thinks that you need, whether good or bad. And that is why positive affirmations can work so well, because they start to reform the negative uh, um, affirmations that are in there inside, your, as I said, I call it your subconscious suggestion box, because they're suggestions to your subconscious mind that that's what you want to happen. And so we have to be like really mindful, because when we have children and we start to give them instructions and talk to them, we need to be so positive, because if we don't, once that thing gets out of your mouth and goes into the child's subconscious mind, it stays there and it accumulates. You know what it suggestions, things like that accumulate, whether good or bad, but they stay there and they affect the child slowly, because the subconscious is always trying to bring that thing about without you realizing it. And we could suffer whatever malady that is, that is said that over and over and over to us. The subconscious would actually try to make it happen, because it thinks that that is what we want, whether it is good or not. So it doesn't judge, it doesn't discern. If you say, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to have a really bad day today," I'm going to negate that straight away, delete that. Then the subconscious mind says, "Oh wow, that person wants a really bad day." So it would go about, bringing situations from the ether into your mind, into your being, and give it to you. So why not start the day with, positive suggestions, but also to children, because these these words, these sentences, these the things that they hear as children, they're so powerful. And because the children's minds like sponges, they just take this in, it just goes in. And it's how children learn, by hearing what is being said to them by parents, guardians, brothers and sisters, basically siblings, aunties and uncles, whatever. That's the whatever, whoever rather is around them, and then they go to school and they learn a certain set of instructions, and so it forms their reality. And later on in life, if enough of those are not positive, it will start to affect the adult in various ways. And they probably don't even realize it's because of the words that were spoken to them between, up and maybe till say 5, 6, 7 ish. I mean, I think maybe seven, and the years up to 7 years, where it goes in and they just soak it up, like a sponge. And after seven, they can maybe, I think that kind of like lessons to some degree, where they can start to discern more for themselves. But up until that point, basically, almost everything you say to them, is taken as fact. Okay, and that is like, for example, you take a, I don't know, a watering can, yeah, you fill it with water, And in that water, you put, like, I don't know, say it's a growth solution you put to help your plants grow. But everything in that growth solution is limiting. You can't do this. And I don't even want to give words to what I'm trying to say, but anything negative. And so you start to water those plants with all that's negative. Do you think that plant's going to grow very healthy? No, of course not. So sometimes we also do things, and uh, we do things based on, as I said, what we were told. Like some of our habits are things that we grew up hearing without realizing it. And to show you that how powerful, these sayings from our family could be, I knew of someone who said that their dad died at 40 years of age of a heart attack. And as they were coming towards 40 years of age, they kept saying every day, every single day, my dad died of a heart attack, and that they know that they're going to it's going to happen to them too. Their 40th birthday came and went, but a few weeks later, I got a call from their office, to say that this person was rushed to the hospital with chest pains. This person ended up having a triple bypass because they developed, coronary thrombosis. So I know sometimes, these things happen, sicknesses happen because of bad diet, whatever, whatever. But a lot of the times too, there are suggestions given to the body. So this person would always say, with such passion and conviction, that because that thing happened to their father, that it's going to happen to them. And it did. But they were lucky because there it was caught in time, and they had the best medical attention, and so their lives were saved. But the fact that they kept feeding themselves this suggestion, and the subconscious mind made it so that the arteries became more and more blocked over time, and then tried to give him a heart attack because that's what he wanted. And things like this, and there is just so much more to it. But look in your subconscious mind, just not sometimes just sit down, relax, and just see if you can uh, picture what's in there. Or maybe better would be to go back in time, try to recall things that you've done, things that you've heard, things that you've seen, and um, just see how they have blossomed and grown into your life, whether for good or ill, because a lot of the time your habits will tell you why, tell you what is actually in your subconscious mind. Things that you do, like, or like limitations that you have, or if you're a more positive or more negative person. And it would yes, so it would tell you, it would show you by your actions what's actually inside your subconscious mind. But as I said earlier, the beautiful thing is that anything negative there we could start to work on. And you could say to yourself, like, why am I doing this or doing that? And you could have maybe visions, impressions, or even dreams would start to come through and let you know why you are doing such a thing the way you are doing it, why you maybe having negative feelings around money or success and prosperity. Because how many times we've heard examples where people say, oh, um, I don't mind just getting by in life because my father and my mother had to work three jobs just to survive, and so we did, didn't we? We did, but that's just surviving. And because they were told when they were younger that it was okay, or as long as you have a little bit of food to eat, you were good to go, and basically don't expect anymore, or it was good that you can feed yourself even though you had to have two or three jobs to do so. So my mother got by on just a little bit. We didn't have much, but we got by, and so they repeat the same kind of pattern over and over again, and then that's what they get, and then they pass it on to their children. And so you might have like a whole, I don't know, like a whole family of people living on the poverty line and being proud about it because that is what their mom and dad and grandparents did. But that doesn't make it right, because I'm sure they'd be much, much happier knowing that they don't have to worry about when the next bill comes, that how easy or hard it's going to be for them to pay it. If they have enough to say, or not even bother about a bill coming in because they have enough money to pay it, they'll soon change their tune. But because they're so stuck in this kind of loop of not having much, previous family members not having much, but they survive, this loop just keeps going round and round and just getting more and more reinforced in their minds, where they live in that small but limiting, uh, seemingly comfort zone for them. They're comfortable with poverty, not realizing that is not really normal. But not really to ramble on too much, I wanted to touch on that because the subconscious mind is such excuse me, a powerful tool. I wrote an article about this some years ago in a magazine called African Business and Culture, about the subconscious mind, because we should be taught this in school. It is such a powerful thing that it shapes who we are. That's the importance of it. It shapes who we are, what we think about ourselves and our lives, and our possibilities. If we should reach for the stars, or if we should just walk looking down and just accept what's coming our way, or not to really look outside of our comfort zone, or if our parents were doctors, lawyers, cooks, whatever, and we go along in that little niche, whether or not we really, really want to. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that when you look at where you are, you have the possibility to move even further. I mean, I have things happen to me. I kind of grew up in the clerical business side of of life. Sitting at a typewriter or computer typing, but that wasn't me. And one day there was on one particular job, I kept, even though the people were like really really nice, and the job was, the pay was okay, it wasn't bad. And I basically hopped up one day because I started to feel like something closing in on me every day. One day I just jumped up out of the chair and I said, I can't take anymore, I'm leaving. And I literally picked my bag up and I said goodbye. And I walked out and I left, and I felt such a good feeling, although out of manners and respect. I did go back in and I said I'm going to give my 2 weeks notice, but I at that particular time I couldn't because it wasn't what I wanted to do. It was not what I wanted to do, and I realized that it was. Growing up with a psychic mom and a psychic granny interested in all things like uh, metaphysics and the unseen, and in herbalism where my gran was an amazing herbalist, and these kind of natural things or naturally based things. I was drawn to anything like that, and that was what my heart, my spirit, that's what was inside my subconscious mind all the time, just trying to get out. And one day it was like it just spilled out. It just got so much, it literally spilled out. And from being a typist and a secretary, I became a numerology consultant, an astrology consultant, metaphysical metaphysical consultant. I was into healing, spiritual healing, and that was what was really in me because that was, as I said, things that were around me, put in my mind when I was younger, and I was lucky that I had no kind of like real limitations of family trying to force me into something that I didn't want to do. I just basically went doing typing in someone because I don't know, it was the thing to do. And you're young and you want to earn some money so you can do what you want and buy lovely clothes and that sort of stuff. But yeah, burning inside of me was something totally different. And sometimes when people people, they want to do something, but they don't really know what it is. It's deep within them but they can't put their finger on it, and then they can become depressed, have mental problems, nervous problems, even now and again panic attacks. So not to kind of like uh seem repetitive, but treat your subconscious mind as the most important part of you, really, and then go from there. So with that, I will say thanks for listening. So there's a lot I wanted to cover, but I am mindful of the time. So if there's anything that you want me to touch on, just drop me a comment. So thanks for listening, and I'd appreciate if you could like and share and subscribe. So, thank you, Diana.